will always have a serious problem from time to time. But it can be assuaged, it can be bearable, tolerable, if you have faith in God, if you believe in God, and there is God, and He controls everything. And we will never really understand how it works. But ang makasabi lang kung kailan tayo mamatay, hanggang kailan tayo mabuhay sa mundong ito, saan, paano. It's a very complicated equation to understand it dito sa ating planeta. And there's the second plane of an astral travel in this universe. And that is why we have religion and we have faith in God. Because it is only God who can really create us in the bodies of our mothers and fathers. And probably God can also just really end it. Why sometimes it is a painful death and sometimes it is a peaceful one. And sometimes we're given the chance to just have a little bit of time to pray, but others are so saddened. Itong buhay natin sa mundong ito, as I have learned at this very late date, I'm 73 years old, I've been trying to figure out how life really runs in this universe, yung creation and the death. And why is there a death, and why do we exist here? So, itong lahat sa Diyos. But I'm sure may mga dito siguro, but fundamentally, almost all of us here are Christians. Ang Diyos lang talaga ang makasagot ng lahat ng tanong na ito. Even if I make a vain attempt to blame somebody, to blame the weather, or maybe to blame the negligence of others, it won't really help anymore. Ang sekreto dito, I think, is just the acceptance. Hindi yung namatay. Tapos na yun eh. That we are born and we will die. Sa ayaw mat natin sa hindi, now, tomorrow, our appointment with our earthly existence is handled by one Creator. Ako, I have taken an issue against sa religion ko, because there are propositions and theories which I do not quite can accept. But kung magsabi ka, there is somebody up there, or whoever it is, who controls the universe, I will agree to that. For the simple reason that there are trillions and billions and billions and trillions of heavenly bodies. And if there is no God, I think the order of the universe will simply vanish and we will just collide with each other. And to think that we have been in existence for almost 4.5 billion years old. That's quite eternity. Many times repeated. So why we were born at this particular epoch and at this time, and we see each other as brothers and sisters at this time of our life, is something which is really a mystery. It cannot be just a matter of a carcass. Sabi patay ng tao, karkas na yan. cannot be explained in that way. But there is a redeeming statement from God. Kung maniwala ka lang sa Diyos. And it is only God who can give you that commitment, because sa nag-aaral kami, meron diyang passage that at the end of time, yan ang really something which I cannot even expound on. But at the end of time, God will come back to judge the living and the dead. That is in our prayers, and I think it's in the Bible. And if you believe your religion, that says a lot of things. That in the meantime, there is somewhere that we will go, but that at the judgment day, when the Lord will come back to judge the living and the dead, is something that we can hope for. How it would happen, only God can do it. How is it possible that the physical being will become one again is God's mystery. Now, why do we have to die? Because we have to know the truth. And the truth does not come when we are still alive. The naked truth of our being and our existence would only come to us when we die, because it is the Spirit now who can go to God face to face. Unfortunately, our being physical is a division that separates us from the angels and the saints and God at tayo mong tao. But we are left to take care of a nation or of a planet, Earth, na magsabihin ka, if there is justice, bakit yung mamahirap lang ang namatay? Bakit lang ang mahirap magtiis ng... Bakit ang mga mayaman wala silang problema? But that is a very faulty proposition, because hindi natin alam. Hindi mo lang alam kung anong problema ang inaharap nila. Everyone in this planet will always have a serious problem from time to time. But it can be assuaged. It can be bearable, tolerable, if you have faith in God. At kung sabihin mo, you begin to understand why is there death. Kaya nga na some Ecclesiastes 3. Ako, I've been 23 years mayor ako sa Davao. Halos pareho kami ni mayor eh. Mayor. Halos pareho kami sa politika katagal. Well, I just went on to become president, but how? It's God's answer. I do not know how. Hindi niya ako kilala, hindi ko kilala. And I lived in a faraway place at the tip of the islands facing Australia. But it came about, and I had a good showing, not politics. But somehow you had an affiliation, kasi I got a good number here. And yet you do not know. Ang kilala ko lang dito, yung mga kasama ko sa dormitoryo, for example, si Dulay sa BIR. He lived across the room sa akin, and he was with Secretary Belio ng Labor. Sila yung magka-roommate. Ako naman yung si Iyasay. Yung si Iyasay naman, yung foreigner, pero sandali lang. Kasi, he had issues about, kasi kung magsalita naman, he'd like to think that everybody can talk like that. And then he was up at the confirmation, he was talking like something, but he was not from the Philippines. And Nag-ano yung mga senado, ano ba itong gagawin to? Pilipino ba to? Hindi. So finally, he had a lot of issues raised. But back to simply, the Bible says, there is a time to be great. Kagaya ko. Presidente ako ngayon. I do not know why. But there will always be a time that I will be nobody. And that is sure to come. And maybe to die thereafter. There is always a time for plenty. But there is always a time for want. There is always time to be merry, happy, and a time to be sad. A time to be healthy, strong, kung bata ka pa. But as sure as the sun will rise in the east, we will get old and get weak and sick. There's a time to feast, but there's time to want. A time to be spending, may pera ka, but sometimes may problema. And a time for war, and a time for peace. And a time to be born, and a time to die. So pag na-accept ninyo yung sinabi ko, my quote from the Bible, then alam ko na kaya na ninyo dalhin ang problema. Do not worry. Everybody and everybody will go. It's a matter of time. You may grieve. Go ahead. Cry. Because that is a part of the emotion when you live a life on this earth. Disappointment and that. Go ahead and cry. Huwag ninyong pigilan. But as you ponder on the death of your loved ones and those who are yet to be found, I'm just praying to God that they are all maybe somewhere there at buhay pa. I pray to God na sana buhay pa lahat. But for those na talagang inevitable nandyan na, well, I can only promise you what government can do in times like this. We all share the grief. Ako galing pa akong Davao pumunta dito. And I attempted kanina to land, but I could not because nagsisara na ang clouds. So I had to go back again and took the route by land. Just to be here. Sabihin niyo, importante, look, I am not into politics. I cannot run again. I am a worker of government together with these guys here. We are working and we work for you. So, nandito kami para to share your grief. But to explain to you, kami yung, for the longest time, a leader, a political leader in my place, you get to have the sense of kung what would be the appropriate explanation in life. Now, yung sinasabi ko sa inyo ngayon, yung tulong sa gobyerno, ako na mismo ang sasabi. I will answer for all funeral expenses. I can give you some amount now in addition to what the SWD would give you. Ako na ho ang magsagot sa lahat ng libing, but I just consult with the DSW. We cannot, basta, we will be there to, akin na yan, pati paglibing. Sagot na ng lahat ng gobyerno yan. I'm here to Please do not do that again. Matutunaw ako dito. Lahat itong mga sundalo, mga general, mga pulis, bayad kami. Bayad kami, kaya yan, sila yan. But I'm not praising the soldiers, pero sila yan. Sila yung ano bang kot-kot sa Tagalog? Kamot, ano? Minsan nagkukulang. Kasi doon halo kami. Hukay. Sila yung walang tulog, sila lahat. And because they are government workers and they have to do their duty. In addition to protecting everybody, life, pati yung rebuild na. Remember, idaan ko na lang rin. For as long as there is graft and corruption, and for as long as there is no order in the society, we can never hope to rise. Mark my word, 10 years from now. Kung maraming gulo itong NPA, walang hinto ng kaguluhan, you have the terrorists and you have the Muslim insurgency, which we are trying to solve, kuno, if we can. And then we can have a better generation. Pero for as long as those are conditions sine qua non, or that they must be there in place before you can really attain something. Ang istorya lang yan. Total, ako yung mayor ninyo. Just call me mayor. I address myself, sabihin ko, ako yung mayor ninyo. I do not want to be called president. Kasi pipiling ko nung tumakbo ka, o naman ako tumakbo nung presidente. Medyo malayo kaya mayor lang. Just call me mayor. I'd be happy. As a matter of fact, if you call me president, I will not respond. Hindi ako magsasagot sa inyo. You just call me mayor. So, yan lang ho ang masabi ko. I can share with you hindi wisdom. I don't think I have really the full of it, yung lahat. But the challenges of my life na dumaan, patay na rin tatay ko, patay na nanay ko. And, Bisaya ako, nanay ko Mindanaoan. But for us to travel from the Visayas to Mindanao, it was a long and winding road of hardships. Hindi lang ako magdrama, pero lahat tayo dumaan ng kahirapan. And that's why I feel it's my duty to be here with you and to assure you. And we will continue with Secretary Simato. He's from Ilocos Norte. He's an Ilocano. He's in charge here, together with the armed forces and the police. We will continue to retrieve. Maghanap pa rin kami. Maghuhukay pa kami. Until such time na we are 100% sure. Pero kung hanapin namin lang, para makita lang, kung just continue praying, baka yung mahukay, they're still there. Maybe hirap na, but and that is why sometimes, if you may want to listen to me, iyang magsabi ang gobyerno na mag-evacuate kayo because it's dangerous. Kindly obey. Total, ano ba naman yung ilang few hours of just moving? Of course, it's inconvenient. Of course, it is worrisome. But sana kung government says na total, kami nga, we are workers of government. Hindi ko tinatawag yung mga official. You have never heard me address my official. Baski saan, ma-TV, I always say, we are workers of government. I do not call Malacanang Palace as Malacanang Palace. To never hear it from my mouth, I always say, my office. Hindi naman palasyo talaga yan. Kahoy mo lang yan, pati na luma. Oh, that's about it. It's on historical because the foreign conquerors came here.